Hi Leo, welcome to the Modern Spiritualist. My name is Raheem. Today I'm going to do the August general reading for the sign of Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. So if you know your sun sign and it's Leo, you're in the right place. If you know your moon and your rising signs, make sure to look for those as well. I went ahead and already did the spread. It's feeling pretty good for August for the most part. All of your cards came out direct, which is pretty unusual. So I feel like there's a lot of forward momentum and a lot of change happening for you guys in August. It looks good. So in the first week, we have the Seven of Swords, and that is paired with the Princess of Discs or the Page of Pentacles. In the second week, we have the Queen of Cups, which is one of my favorite cards, and that is paired with the Queen of Wands. So you've got some fire and ice mirror energy here, which is really, really powerful. In the third week, we have the Nine of Swords, and that's paired with the Wheel of Fortune, which I don't pull very often. And in the fourth week, we have the Ace of Wands, which is paired with the Devil. So, my first sense for you guys is that you're trying to put something in motion for yourself. Maybe it's career. I get the sense for many of you it's career. And I just feel a lot of maybe not quite self-doubt for many of you, but just the feeling of launching something that feels really passionate for you, and just the kind of typical fear that comes along with doing something new and doing something important to you. So if there's any self-doubt stories coming along, just be aware of them and don't let them influence your actions too much, because whatever it is that you guys are doing, it feels really good. In the first week of August, we have the Seven of Swords, which means that you're trying to figure out your plan. You're trying to figure out how best to strategize and map out everything that you want to do moving forward. And just be aware of overcomplicating it, because, I mean, really the best thing that you can just do is take the next step, right? If you can figure out what the next step is and just do that step, then from there you can take the next step. If you overthink too many steps ahead, you can get really overwhelmed, and it often just ends up with you expending a lot of energy in planning that you could have spent actually putting things in motion. So just be aware of that. I mean, strategizing is good, planning is good, but you can get too lost in the planning. It's actually like a really good way to avoid doing the actual work, because you maybe don't quite know what to do next, and that unknown or that uncertainty can be very scary. But it's actually where all change and growth happens, is in that unknown. So just get comfortable with that unknown a little bit, and try to take a step back if you find yourself getting a little bit too heavy in planning and less heavy in actually taking the next step. And it's paired with the Page of Pentacles, which just means that it looks like you're doing just that. You are beginning to take action to manifest something for you. And it's Pentacles, so it's in the physical material world. It's a page, which means that you're right in those initial steps of actually taking action and making things happen for you. So it looks good. Just be careful getting too many steps ahead and then overwhelming yourself, right? Just do the next step, and then do the next step. Okay. So in the second week, we have the Queen of Cups paired with the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Cups is the phrase that's coming to my mind right now is like emotional flexibility. Emotional flexibility. So let's explore that a little bit. Give yourself space to flow with your emotions, because they may be very mutable or kind of changeable in this week or even this whole month, because you have so many things that you're trying to put in motion. And I just get the sense that it's from a very passionate or like soul-led place. You're gonna have titrating emotions. Some days are going to feel really good and really empowered. Other days you're going to feel like, why am I even doing this? And just give yourself the space to be scared when you want to be scared, and to pause, address those feelings, and then to keep moving forward. if you do that, if you give your emotions the space to work themselves out without judgment or without control or without expectation, then you'll be in the flow of what it really feels like to move forward and grow with something. Because the thing about emotions is that in their rightful place, they're always changing, and they don't always make sense, and they don't have to, right? So just allow yourself for whatever does come up, just allow it to come up and allow it to flow, um, because none of them are permanent, um, but they all need to be expressed so that you can continue to move on and you can continue to move forward with the things that you want to do. Um, it's paired with the Queen of Wands, which for some of you, I mean, this is in the upright, but for some of you, um, when these emotions come up, I get the sense that the impulse is to overly control your environment out of fear of those emotions, or like fear of lack of control. If any of you equate feeling strong emotions with lack of control or changing emotions with lack of control, then what can happen is you try to control other people or other things in your life. And what that does, well, first of all, it impacts your relationships if you're controlling other people. If you're just trying to control the major environment around you, what you're doing is you're just wasting energy because ultimately you can't control it. I mean, you can set up your environment the way that you want it to be, amenable to you, but you can't control everything. And so if it feels like you're kind of like micro focusing on little things that ultimately don't matter, or kind of pulling yourself out of the flow and into the external world to such an extent that you're not actually getting anything done, um, then just watch that and kind of flow back into this Queen of Cups energy, where you're just allowing your emotions to flow without control. However, the Queen of Wands in balance also just means that you're really on your shit right now, like you're delegating tasks well, you're managing your energy well, and there's a lot of forward momentum with the Queen of Wands. There's also like a lot of leadership capability and planning, and things like that. So I it's kind of reflecting the Seven of Swords back to me as well, where it's just like try to stay in the balance of setting intention and taking action rather than kind of being too obsessed about the outcome and then kind of getting yourself worked up. So just watch out for that. In the third week, we have the Nine of Swords, and that's paired with the Fortune card. So I'm going to start with the Fortune card because whatever you're doing right now um, will have most likely a pretty dramatic effect on your life in the positive. This is in the upright. This is something that you want. This is something that you're working for. And the energy is, I mean, what the Wheel of Fortune is reflecting to you is that this energy that you're putting into motion is doing exactly what you want it to do. The change that you want to bring, the turn of fortune that you want to bring to your life is available to you. The Nine of Swords is just saying that you're freaking out. Um, you may be kind of terrified that what you're doing won't bring the change that you want, but you may also be equally terrified that it will. And because again, back to this like unknown thing, right? Being in the unknown of your own emotions, being in the unknown of your outcome, um, what can happen is that even though it's exactly what you want, because it's something new, you still freak out. And first of all, it is completely okay to freak out. But it's not okay to quit. I mean, you can quit if you want, but why would you when you know all of this energy and everything that you're doing is trying to get you to this future that you're projecting for yourself, right? Um, so don't give up. Don't beat yourself up over a freak out either, because these things happen. Like, it's totally human. Like, biologically, we register the unknown as death because we don't know what's coming, and it's a biological animal response to stick to what we know. Um, but I mean, the remarkable thing about being human is that we can stay in that unknown, with our resources and pull our resources and support to us, and be held by the universe and by ourselves and by our loved ones in such a way that we can kind of stare at that precipice and go anyway, because ultimately that's what we want to do. We're transformational beings, at our best. So the Nine of Swords, um, number one, don't overexhaust yourself. If you are kind of nose to the grindstone throughout much of August, and I think I got the same message from you guys from during July. I believe one of the July messages that I pulled for you guys was to make sure that you're getting enough rest because I get the sense that you're exhausting yourselves a little bit. And the message is still coming through in August to like make sure it's okay to be busy, but don't burn yourself out because what can happen when you're kind of like burning the wick at both ends, right? Is when we're tired all the time, we start getting more pulled into our stories and our negative narratives because we're not operating at the optimal level. And then reality can seem a lot more stressful than it really is. So make sure that you're getting enough sleep. Make sure that you're taking enough time for self care. Because I do sense with the Nine of Swords there may be some sleepless nights. And if you have some sleepless nights because you're stressed or whatever, then make sure that you're giving yourself more time in the morning. Um, like don't continue to be in a situation where you're both having insomnia and then also not making up for that in other ways. So if you can give yourself more time in the morning, if you can give yourself time during the day to sleep to catch up on what you might miss, if you're dealing with insomnia, that will be really helpful. And just do what you can to calm your mind down and bring your awareness into your body before you sleep, so that you know you're shutting down the faculties that are continuing to spin and spin and not allow you to sleep. So do what you can to de-stress, um, and you guys will be fine. Because I get the sense what's happening is you're going, and then once you kind of reach the point where you hit the wall, you continue to go, and that's when all of the negative narratives come up, and you're like, "What am I doing this for? This is never going to work." All of those things. So when you feel those narratives start to come up, that's when it's time to take a step back and do something for you, whether that's sleep or any other form of self care that you do for yourself. Okay, and then in the fourth week, we have the Ace of Wands, and that's paired with the Devil. Um, which is a very similar message to week three. The Ace of Wands is saying that you're right on the beginning of launching some sort of new venture for yourself, something inspired. And I keep getting career, so I think for many of you it's career. Um, and this is saying that you have like unlimited potential, but you're still at the beginning stages where nothing is totally solidified yet. With the Seven of Swords, I get that you've been trying to plan, but I would maybe just give it a little bit of time to continue to develop energetically, because what this is saying is that you're still right at the beginning. You may not have all the information yet, but you're about ready to push all these things forward. And so this is just reflecting that you do have all of this energy, this potential available to you to do what you need to do. And you're going to start bringing all those things down to earth soon and kind of creating a specific path. But when we're right at the beginning of something and there's so many directions we can go and we're still trying to figure it out, I think the tendency is to like overthink and like make yourself figure it out. When sometimes you just need to sit with things for longer and allow them to kind of develop in the subconscious before you make your move. Sometimes you need to let the universe get some things in place for you before you can make your move as well. So make sure that's a conversation that you're having with the universe and that you're co-creating that reality, because it's not just you, right? This is kind of the relationship with life is a two-way street. It's you and it's life, and you have to work together and compromise, so that things can be in place for you at the right time, which is not always the time that you want it, but it's divine timing. That's paired with the Devil, which is reflecting the Nine of Swords back to me, and also the Seven of Swords a little bit, where you may just be feeling a lot of self-imposed limitation, but what keeps dropping into me is just the words like "not yet." Like you actually do have the access to more than you even realize right now, but just because not everything is manifesting exactly the way you want it right in this second doesn't mean it isn't going to later. And so this is basically saying make sure that you're doing everything that you can do and no more, right? You can't force things to happen before they're ready. You can just keep taking the next step. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other, staying really present, and just saying, okay, what step am I on? And just putting all of your energy into that, right? The Devil has, in this deck at least, has a lot of creative energy. Specifically, it's the Capricorn card. So it's creative energy in the physical material world. It is making things happen. So I think this is just telling you guys to relax a little. You're on the right path. You don't need to worry. And so make sure that you're actually enjoying what you're doing, because the thing about setting goals and meeting them is there's always another goal after that, right? Like you never fully get that that outcome you want, because basically that means death, right? There's always something after the next thing. And so enjoy the step you're on, give it your all, and don't take it so seriously that it sucks the fun out of it. Like, you're doing this because you love it and because you want to do it, right? So make sure to introduce some fun and some creativity into it, because that might actually get you to discover something that you wouldn't otherwise have discovered, or find a new path, or a shorter path, or a trickstery path to the thing you want in a completely different way, so that you're not taking, so many overwhelming steps to get to the next thing. But you can kind of be creative with the path and find kind of circuitous routes to what you're doing. And that's fun too, because taking the winding path versus the straight path, or the straight path versus the winding path, is that you have a completely different environment, or you have different scenery as you go about what you're doing. So whatever you're manifesting, whatever intentions you're setting for your future, just know that you're going to get there. Trust that you're going to get there, and then really just ask yourself, okay, how am I going to get there? In what way? Um, so that I get the most out of it that I possibly can, and so that I have the most fun as possible, and enjoy the experiences that I really want to enjoy. Um, so I hope that helps. I think that's all I have for you guys. Whatever you're doing, it's gonna take a minute to get there, but it's gonna be great, and I sense that it already is great. You just have to continue to remind yourself of that, right? Um, these fear of failure stories, they can really prevent us from enjoying the present moment, and that's what this month is trying to get you to do, is just focus on where you are, um, because that's where the flow of energy is, right? So I hope you guys have a great August. It looks like you're going to be working hard all month. Make sure to pull back when you can and make some time for yourself. And I think that's it. If you liked this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe if you want more content. If you would like to schedule a private reading with me so we can go into more detail about your specific situation and come up with steps forward for you, make sure to click the link in the description box where you can schedule a private reading. I offer 30-minute and hour-long sessions, and I would love to meet you. So I hope you guys have a great August, and I hope to see you guys next time.